Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
How are you, Ju?
I'm good. I'm so sorry. Just a few minutes late.
No worries. I'll just
We should, yeah, they booked a consultation, right before the live. I never do that, so not my fault. Oh, I'm so sorry that I miss, I miss Zoe's, that's Zoe, right? Yeah, Zoe's explanation about the course. I was so interested in knowing more about
you
this
can
this
you
course.
can you can watch
Watch
later.
later.
We will
We're gonna
put
do it.
in IGBT, so feel free to watch later.
I will.
Thank
I
you, Zoe.
will.
So, Ju, can you say a little bit about self-immigration, about you, and then we start with questions that the student already sent to us about the social work area. Okay?
Yeah, of course.
Can you
Yeah.
just introduce? I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that everyone knows you, but feel free.
So I'm Juliana Stalking, and one of the registered immigration agents at Seven Migration. We've been in the market for 8 years, almost 8 years now. And yeah, we're super happy to help so many, applicants and students in achieving their dreams in Australia as, we achieved ours. So yeah, that's me.
That's nice. So, Ju, I have some questions that the
Yeah.
student they are always asking us, and also we collected some. So, one of the question is, what is the most common ways that the student can migrate to Australia? So it means that which ways, type of visas, just a general explanation for the students.
Yeah. So I like to say that we have two main migration programs, the sponsored visas and the skilled visas. So the skilled visas, as the name says, is just based on their skills. And it doesn't, they don't rely on companies to achieve, to get the PR. And the sponsor visas, of course, as the name says, they need a company, they need a sponsorship in order to have, a strategy in order to get a visa. Sometimes, they're going to get a temporary visa. In some cases, of course, they'll be entitled to get the PR as well. So it's funny because the clients, and I have like three consultations today, and in those three consultations, in two consultations, they ask me, no, okay, you've been explaining about the skilled visas and sponsored visas, but I want to know about my PR. So we don't have a
The most
PR.
important.
Yeah, so we don't have, a visa called PR. We have skilled permanent visas and we have sponsored permanent visas as well. So those are the most, common ways. The skilled visas, all of, we have the skilled independent, skilled state nominated, and the skilled provisional regional. Of course, I'm just simplifying, the names. They all, the skilled independent, the skilled state nominated, they are permanent visas. The skilled provisional visa will lead them, to appear later. The
Okay.
sponsored visas, we do have one sponsored visa, which is the 482, which is just a temporary visa. And in some cases that will lead them, to be nominated by a company on a permanent visa, on a permanent employer nomination visa. And yeah, we do have a permanent, let's say, it's a provisional that will lead to a permanent visa, which is a sponsored in regional areas as well, which is the 494.
Okay. So going to the talk now. Today the topic is social work.
Yeah.
So we want to understand more about the migration pathways for social work. So for example, if I'm a student and I finish my Bachelor of Social Work, so am I eligible to migrate to Australia? What are the migration pathways that I can follow to achieve the dream, the PR? Can you explain a little bit about that for
Yeah.
social work area?
Yes, it's a very good pathway indeed. We discuss, about this pathway a lot. There is a bit of confusion between, community services or community workers and social workers. They're not the same. Maybe, might be another topic, for another day. But in regards of social workers, they are on national demand. So we do have the medium and long-term skilled occupation list, and of course, social workers are listed there, which is a very good thing when we think about, permanent visa strategy. Also, I don't know if you know that, because that I think that happened a week ago, that social workers, they were allocated on what we have now, which is a priority skilled occupation list. So we had 17 occupations since, the pandemic striked, and they just included social workers on this list. So that's the PMSOL, the Priority Migration Skilled Occupation List, something like that. Yeah, so they are definitely in high demand, and it is a good pathway. It is a little bit more expensive than other pathways, but ACAP, has a good, I was just checking their website another day, they have like a good, good deal, I would say. And it is an amazing profession, in my opinion. So when someone goes through the bachelor, and in some cases, I believe that they can go straight to the master as well, because those two courses from ACAP, they are recognized, they are accredited by the Australian Association of Social Workers. They will certainly, be able to pass on what we call, to obtain a positive skills assessment in the end of the course. They need, a high level of English, what we call the proficient English, as probably Zoe already explained, because I believe it's the same entry requirements for the course, isn't it? They need that to enroll in the bachelor or master, right? So in the end of the course, they will be able to obtain a positive skills assessment, and having the assessment done, it depends on, of course, their points on a points test, but they will be able to be eligible to try the skill independent visa, or the skilled state nominated, or the skilled regional, depending on their circumstances, of course. If it's a new career, if it's just a new career for them, if they haven't accumulated enough work experience in the field, they won't be able to be sponsored straight after the course. But the course will lead them to a graduate visa, of at least 2 years. And during this time, they can also, accumulate work experience to be sponsored. So either they can be sponsored and would be a sponsorship that will lead to a permanent visa later, or they can try their luck with one of the skilled visas available.
So for the student, if they do a bachelor or a master, they will have the same pathway to migrate in Australia. Okay.
They will. Yeah.
One more question that the most students, they are asking for that. Should I do a social work in a regional area, or for example in Sydney, Brisbane, or Melbourne? So what do you recommend? And can you tell a little bit about the difference that the student can have with this pathway?
Having an occupation on a medium and long-term skilled occupation list means that the location does not define, if the applicant will have a strategy to apply for a PR. So it's not like, for example, if you go through, a community services course, then in this case, you need to be in a specific location where the occupation, is on demand. Social workers, they are on a national demand. However, of course, moving to a regional area will, they will benefit of moving to a regional area, even if it's just because they can get extra points for 2 years of studies in a regional area, or in case, in order to get a skilled visa in a regional area, the requirements are that you need to study there. Then if they study, they'll, most likely be able to go through this pathway as well. So there are advantages to, when you think about studying in regional areas. But for social workers, it's not, again, it doesn't mean that if you don't study in a regional area that you won't, be eligible to apply for a permanent visa.
Okay, so you have
advantage. Yeah, you have advantages like getting extra points, and also I was just missing, these, but also because you are studying a higher education course, then you'll be able to apply for a graduate visa via the post-study work stream. And if you study in a regional area and stay in the regional area during the graduate visa, then that is a way of extending the graduate visa for a further 1 year. And so that's, of course, one of the benefits of studying there.
Okay, going to the 485 visa, can you just explain a little bit the difference from Sydney, Melbourne, or Brisbane and regional area?
Yeah. 485
Just because most of the students, they doesn't know the difference between what can I get for 485 in regional area. So it's important.
So basically, the graduate visa, we have two streams. So we are not talking about the graduate work stream for those studying, vets and etc. So we are talking about the post-study work stream. So in this stream, specific stream, if you study a bachelor or a master's coursework, you can get a 2 years visa. If you study a master's by research, then 3 years, and a doctor degree, then you can get 4. What they started offering in November last year was an additional 1 to 2 years, depending where you study and also where you spend your time or where you live during the graduate visa. So if you study higher education in Australia and the first student visa of your life was after 5th of November 2011, you will be eligible to apply for a graduate visa under the post-study work stream. It's not related to the medium and long-term list. It's simply because you completed, you complete a higher education course. Yes, and they just want to, I would say, promote the skills and, the sector in the regional area. So they're just giving an extra 1 to 2 years, depending where you study.
So that's the difference. Thank you.
Yes. But it's very good indeed. And I understand that they give these extra years because the new regional sponsored visa, which was also created, released in November 2019, this visa requires 3 years of post qualification experience in order, for the candidate to qualify. So I think they're just thinking if they are in a regional area, if they want to have access to this visa, they need the 3 years. So let's just give them at least this time after the course to complete the experience and be eligible to apply.
We have one question here, Ju, that maybe can clarify the students. In the point of view of migration and migration pathways, what is the difference between if I study social work, which is a bachelor or a master, or if I study community services, which is a vocational course? What is the difference between for migration pathways?
Community services leads them to be nominated as a community worker. It's not the same as being a social worker. So community workers, they are not on the medium and long-term skilled occupation list, which means that the pathways are not the same. It's still a good option, but in order to have a good migration strategy as a community worker, then in this case, ideally the person will, of course, check all of the state's occupation lists and study in one specific state or territory where the occupation is on demand. The challenge that we have with the community workers is the fact that not all of the courses are accredited by, the ACWA, which is the assessing authority of this profession. And when you complete an accredited course, then the course by itself will lead this person to pass on a skills assessment. However, if you start studying a course and the course is no longer accredited, or if the course was never accredited by this authority, the person will need to complete post-qualification experience. And this course will not lead this person, to a graduate visa, which means that it will be very hard to complete the experience afterwards. So studying community services, the course by itself would not lead this person, the student, to a graduate visa. So yeah.
Even the Bachelor of Community Service will be the same, so different areas.
You got me, because I'm not sure if we do have a bachelor. Do we? In community services?
We can double check later.
Yeah, we double check later.
I don't the Bachelor of Community Service. But
I don't think we do. I don't think we do, because maybe we do, but I think then the bachelor will be the social work or other related field, because the requirement is a diploma level qualification. So I'm not sure. I'll have to check.
Yeah, that's why I've never had Because sometimes when the student wants to go to community search, they do just the vocational course.
Yeah, yeah.
So one more question. Talking about the Job Ready program. So the Job Ready program is available for this course. For example, if I do a Bachelor of Social Work or a Master of Social Work, the Job Ready program, can you explain a little bit and how it works?
The Job Ready program is specific to trade occupations. So this is a name of the skills assessment for tradies. So all of the occupations assessed by the TRA, they have, to complete the Job Ready program, or they have other two types of assessment they can complete as well instead of the Job Ready program. So the Job Ready program will not be available because the social workers, they don't need it. So basically, when we discuss a migration strategy with someone willing to study social work, it's so simple, it's just, a matter of asking them to go to the Australian Association of Social Workers website, look for the accredited courses, and of course, try to not to go into the ones pending accreditation, but get, an accredited course. They have a list divided by state or in territory, and choose one of the courses which they call qualifying course, and it's just a matter of completing the course. The course will have, will meet the requirements of the Australian Association of Social Workers, which means that the person will pass on the skills assessment. They don't need to work afterwards in order to pass.
Okay.
It's all about the course. So there is no post-qualification experience as a requirement.
So one more question that the students sent to us is, what if the immigration changed the list until I finish the course? So will I be still eligible to apply for any another visa? Most of the students are afraid about that because we do a study plan like for 2 or 4 years, and then the immigration changes, how it can affect the student.
Yeah. I must say that they don't change the medium and long-term list very often, as the students think. And I keep saying that they do review the list very often, but it doesn't mean that they will change. We had like 2 big changes, but they don't change all the time. As the occupation was, recently allocated as a high priority in Australia, and I believe that it was always on high demand, it will be very hard for this occupation to be removed, in my view. I might be wrong because I can't guess, but I don't think they will take it out from the list. That's the first thing. If the occupation is removed, they're not going to remove the occupation from all of the list. They will, in this case, remove from the medium and long-term list, but not from the short-term. That's what I think, because they don't simply remove, from the medium and long-term and simply take it out from all of the list. They normally downgrade it, let's say, the occupation. So if, in this case, the graduate visa will be still, available because the graduate visa is not related. Again, this stream that I was explaining about is not related to the list, so the person can still apply. In terms of migration, in terms of permanent visa strategy, then the person will have to probably look for a state or territory where the occupation is still on demand and try their luck there.
Okay, we have one question here, Ju. What I need for the positive skills assessments for social worker? Can you just explain a little bit more for us?
Yeah, it's super simple. If you study an accredited course with, by the Australian Association of Social Workers, as I said, they do have a list in their website. And if you just go in the tab, I think it's career, something like that in the tab, and then you just click studying social work in Australia, then you're going to find this accredited courses list. If you complete one of those courses, and if you meet the English requirement, you will obtain the positive skills assessment upon completion.
We have one more question. How many years should I take me to apply for a PR if I start to study social work next year, for example, in 2021 with a CAP?
It depends if you go through the bachelor or masters. The masters, they are 2 years courses, but what about the bachelor? I'm not sure, probably three or four.
4 years.
4 years. Yeah. So in this case, it's about the course. So if you go through the bachelor at least 4 years to pass on the skills assessment, or obtain a positive skills assessment, and then have a chance of, you know, trying the skilled visa. And if it's a master, then 2 years. Okay. But it's just, we need to say that it's not just obtaining the positive skills assessment. Of course, we are talking about the course today, but obtaining the skills assessment is mandatory. So that will be the first step.
So we have one last question, is that if I do a social work, do I need to have work experience after the course finish, or it can be recognized during my course?
If it's an accredited course, then the work experience is just a plus if you want to claim points, but it's not a requirement, because what they will focus on is the number of hours that you must study, and also the placement that you have during the course, and the English requirement as well. So those are the main, you know, the 3 main requirements.
As they are recognized. So if the student goes to a bachelor or a master, they don't have to have experience after the course.
No.
And also they have work placement during the course. So
yeah, they are accredited courses, yes. And it's not training accreditations, they are accredited at this stage. Yeah.
As soon as I finish the course, is it necessary to apply for 485?
Yes, it is. That's one of the myths that we keep discussing, because you know, it's easy to think that everything is like automatic. So the graduate visa relies on the fact that you study something. So of course you need to complete the studies, and then you need to apply for a visa to demonstrate that you meet the requirements for such visa. The same as getting a sponsorship and 3 years later being nominated by the employer on a permanent visa. It's another process. So there is no automatic process to get a visa. You always need to apply for a new one. Yeah, they have different requirements, different fees, different structure, but you need to apply.
So guys, do you have any questions? So I'll open the chat for you. If you have more questions, you can ask Juliana.
Victor, you're gonna have to. I can't see the. For some reason, I can't see anything. So you need to guide me on that.
No worries. I'm just double checking here. So yeah, like basically what I can see is that most of the students related to this area, they go to social work. They do a master's if they can, or they can go to a bachelor. Both of them are good pathways, as we had Zoe here talking about those courses, and now we have you talking about our pathways.
No, it's a very good pathway indeed. Of course, again, it's not as, you know, the price, of course, is a little bit more expensive than other courses, but yeah, it's a very good pathway indeed.
So, Ju, I would like to say thank you so much. I already thank you, like the Zoe helped us a lot. So you're helping us a lot. If you have any consideration about the social work area, or any case that you had to give an example for the student, it will be so great for us. If not, I'll thank you so much.
I think that they'll cut us, right? Because we have like 3 minutes probably.
Yeah.
No. So no, thank you so much. What I would say is just that, again, you know, it's a worth it, like investment, definitely, you know, and I believe that there will be a lot of jobs in this area. So all of my clients following this path, so many of them still studying, but you know, the ones that follow this path, they are successful. So yeah, I encourage all of you, if you are thinking about it, go for it. But thank you so much.
Ju, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And guys, if you have any question, call us, come to Information Planets, we can help you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.